Welcome party people. Come on in and take a seat because the results are in. My name is Zero Wilson, and today in this video I'll be showing you who is the fastest web hosting and also who is the slowest. I recorded the performance of 22 different web hosting companies for 90 days, and today in this video I'm going to show you who had the fastest page speed and also the best uptime. I'll be breaking this video down into 3 sections: companies I don't recommend, companies that performed on average, and companies that are very fast and I would recommend. I have timestamps in the description of this video to each category, so if you're in a hurry, feel free to jump to the best web hosting companies at any time. So if you've seen other web hosting companies and you're not sure if they're fast or reliable, today in this video we are going to find out. Plus, I have exclusive discounts for some of these web hosting companies that you will not find anywhere else on the internet. Now, let's be honest, we've all been screwed. We've all bought web hosting that sucks. Now, I spent around $5,000 performing this test to provide you all with real quality reviews so you can have real quality web hosting. So if you do decide to use any of the links in the description below of this video, it does help me make these tutorials for you for free. So before we start, let me show you all how I got these results and let me answer a common myth with web hosting. I purchased web hosting accounts from each of these companies, and I installed the same size WordPress theme and starter website on each of these domains to provide a fair and accurate reading. I then monitored the page speed of each of these websites every 30 minutes for 90 days straight. I then recorded the uptime of the server and recorded every time the server went down for 90 days using Pingdom. Pingdom is a web hosting monitor that records everything about your website and is known as the best resource for monitoring web hosting. So today, I'll be mainly focusing on 2 specific categories: page speed and downtime. Page speed is the time it takes for a website to load. The lower the number, the faster the server. Next is downtime. Downtime is how long the website went offline or was unavailable due to server issues. The more downtime, the less reliable the server is. And for you techies out there, I will also include the server response time, which is the amount of time it takes for a web browser to receive a response from the web host. But I'll mainly be focusing on the page speed and the downtime in this test. Now, I also want to clarify what a lot of people ask me when they're looking for web hosting. Most companies today offer packages. You see terms like unlimited storage space and unmetered bandwidth. This is simply not true. These companies do have a limit when it comes to web hosting. You should always ask the web hosting company how much bandwidth or space is included in the package. But most of these companies offer a reasonable amount of space and bandwidth, and I'll talk more about this in the video. I'll also be talking about renewal fees. It's important to know when you sign up for a web hosting company that you're only paying the first year sales price, then your plan renews at a higher cost. So that's just something to consider when you're shopping for web hosting. First, let's talk about companies you should avoid. If you are using any of these companies, I highly recommend to switch. Now, Google recommends that your website should be loading at under 3 seconds. So these next companies failed the basic Google standard of web hosting, and here they are. Number 1 is HostGator. HostGator's performance over the years has been notoriously bad. HostGator had an average load time of 5.5 seconds to load a website. It had an hour of downtime with 35 outages over 90 days. HostGator is owned by EIG, which has a long reputation of buying mom and pop shops of web hosting and watering them down in return for a profit. I would avoid any web hosting company that is owned by EIG. Next, InMotion Hosting. InMotion Hosting had the slowest speed on the list, loading at around 6.7 seconds, and it also had 24 hours of downtime, which is just crazy. Avoid this one at all costs. Next is Bluehost, yet another EIG company. Bluehost had an average load time of 4 seconds, but they had an average downtime of 23 minutes, which actually isn't that bad. This is probably the least slowest company that is owned by EIG, but I would still not recommend it. Next, HostPapa. Sadly, this company used to be a lot faster, and at one point in my career, I did recommend them. HostPapa had an average load time of 3.4 seconds with 33 minutes of downtime, which is not that bad. Yet companies downgrade their servers and upgrade, so hopefully next year, I can say something positive about HostPapa. Next is iPage, another EIG company. iPage had an average load time of 4.67 seconds with 20 hours of downtime. Yikes. They do have dirt cheap prices, but that's probably because their service is terrible. Avoid this one at all costs if you can. Next, MediaTemple.net. This company had a long history of being slow. MediaTemple's average load time was around 4.85 seconds with 3 hours of downtime over 90 days. Lastly, TMD Hosting. This one really pains me because I used to promote this company a few years ago on a lot of my past WordPress tutorials. TMD's average load time was 3.93 seconds with more than 7 hours of downtime over 90 days. So those companies I do not recommend. Now these next companies, they barely met the Google standard of your site loading at around 3 seconds. So with these next companies, I'm personally neutral. I don't recommend them, but I'm not really against them. So if you want to try them out, go for it. First is ChemiCloud. ChemiCloud barely met the Google standard of a load time of around 2.94 seconds, but actually had some small downtime of around 10 minutes over 90 days. Their pricing is decent, with their middle WordPress Pro plan being around $100 for the year. They also have some pretty low renewal fees. Next is FastComet. Known for their dedicated hosting, FastComet's average load time on average was 2.5 seconds. They had 2 hours of downtime over 90 days, which is a little bad in my opinion. The prices are quite impressive. You can get a year of hosting for as little as $70. FastComet does offer a lot of pointless extras like search engine optimization for $6 and $15 for a simple Google sitemap, which you can simply upload yourself for free. Personally, I think FastComet is better for dedicated servers. It actually has some very good dedicated server specs and deals that are worth your time. I have a full video on that, and I'll leave that in the description below of this video. Next is GoDaddy. What would a web hosting test be without GoDaddy? GoDaddy barely met the Google standards with load times of 2.98 seconds and had a terrible amount of downtime with 16 hours. Yikes. GoDaddy recently changed its logo. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I think everyone knows them for their previous logo. They are a large corporate company, so now I think they rather appease to its shareholders than offer top quality services for their customers. I have never been able to figure out GoDaddy's plans. If you look at the ultimate plan, it costs around $12.99, but there is no difference from the maximum plan costing $19.99. GoDaddy has always had somewhat of a bad reputation, but that also might be because they do have a large user base. Next is GreenGeeks. 2 years ago, this was the fastest web hosting available, but they have definitely slowed down with speed over the years. GreenGeeks page speeds were around 2.9 seconds on average, with around 43 minutes of downtime over 90 days. GreenGeeks does offer some pretty good deals. You can get a year of hosting for around $100 and 2 years of hosting for around $160. They also have some pretty low renewal fees, so it's not bad if you're on a budget. Lastly, Get Flywheel. I am a little disappointed in this one. Last year, this company performed really well. This year, the company's speed lacked. I was very skeptical about putting Get Flywheel in this category, but I think I should, and I'll explain why. The average load time I had with Get Flywheel was around 2.5 seconds. They also had some good uptime at only 26 minutes of downtime. But for the price you're paying and the limits they give you, I think these results should be a lot better. To host 10 websites, you'll have to pay $115 a month without any upgrades. You also need to migrate your website to Get Flywheel, as they don't offer and they don't sell domains. The results aren't bad, but for the price, I think you can find something much better. Okay, so these next 10 companies I personally recommend. They perform better than every other hosting company on this entire list. They had great speeds and good uptime. So for these next 10 companies, I'll jump in the video and I'll talk about why I like them and things I didn't like about them as well. Welcome to the Winners Lounge. Now, every company on this list I do recommend, and I do have exclusive discounts for a lot of these companies, and I'll put those in the description below of this video. Coming in at number 10 is Kinsta. Now, Kinsta has always been just a rock solid web hosting company. If you go to any Facebook group or any poll, Kinsta is usually going to be like on the top 10 list somewhere. They had an average load time of 1.27 seconds with only 5 minutes of downtime, which is very impressive. Now, the only downside about Kinsta is that they are expensive. In fact, they are the most expensive company on this entire list. So for $100 a month, you get about 5 WordPress installs, 100,000 visits, which I think is the equivalent of around 200 gigs of bandwidth, and you get around 30 gigs of disk space. So although they are expensive, their performance definitely makes up for it. Now, if you are brand new to WordPress or hosting, I do not recommend Kinsta. It's more geared for people who are developers. It's more geared for people who have been in the game for a while. You will have to migrate your website, and even sometimes you will have to change some settings yourself. The support can be questionable. Personally, I think their support is not the best, but again, that's my personal experience. But performance-wise, this company is amazing. Number 9 is Cloudways. Now, Cloudways performed really well. So they had an average load time of 1.37 seconds with only 7 minutes of downtime over the last 30 days. Now, Cloudways is a little different than the other typical hosting companies. So they work as a middleman for companies like Amazon AWS, Google Cloud, Vultr, even DigitalOcean. They are a little expensive, and you are better off going to those companies and doing it yourself. However, it's a lot more technical. It's very complicated. So Cloudways is like more of the middleman to make sure everything goes easier. They are also very expensive, unfortunately. So Cloudways can get a little pricey, but personally, their performance, again, makes up for it. So I would only recommend Cloudways for people who have been in the game for a while. If you're brand new to WordPress, no, I do not recommend Cloudways. But for people who have been in the game for a while, Cloudways is a very good choice for web hosting. Next, we have A2 Hosting, and this is a suitable company for people who are brand new to WordPress. Now, A2 Hosting performed at around 2.18 seconds with only an hour of downtime. Actually, that is quite a long time. An hour of downtime over the last 90 days, they had about an hour of downtime. The pricing for A2 Hosting is a little more expensive than SiteGround. They are a little bit more expensive than other hosting companies. The renewal fees are decent though. So when you look at the hosting plans, you might want to look at their renewal fees. So on average, people usually get their Turbo Boost plan, and that's the one I used for this specific test. So for about the year, you'll pay around $180, and when it's time to renew, you'll pay around $20. The renewal fees for A2 Hosting are not bad at all. So if you do want to try out A2, they are definitely a website to check out. Coming in at number 7 is WPX Hosting. Now this company is fast, and I got a lot of requests to do this company, so I figured I would add it on my list. WPX had an average load time of 643 ms, which is probably the top 3 most fastest companies on this entire list. Now they did have a problem with their downtime, unfortunately. So this is actually our fault. This was not their fault. We had a problem whitelisting their IP address, but we got it fixed, obviously. But they did have around, I want to say, 3 hours of downtime over the last 3 months. So all these red marks are downtime, unfortunately. So they did have a lot of spikes of downtime, except for ours, which was this right here, which was our problem. But they had around 3 hours of downtime over the last 90 days. That is a little bit. That's a little bit too much. But again, their speed definitely makes up for it. So let's take a look at their monthly plans. So the monthly plans are not a bad deal. So for the professional, you do get 15 websites, 20 gigs of storage, and 200 gigs of bandwidth, which is pretty much what Kinsa's offering. Pretty much the same thing. The elite plan, you can hold 35 websites with 40 gigs of storage and unlimited bandwidth. I'm not really sure if that's really unlimited. They all say that, but there's usually always a catch. For the price you pay, it's not bad. The downtime is a little alarming to me in my book, even though the speed is very fast. So if you do want to try out WPX, there is a link below to try them out. The speed of this company really surprised me. I do wish they just had better uptime, unfortunately. They just did have a lot of spikes of downtime over the last 3 months for just some amazing speed. So yeah, if you want to go ahead, check them out.
The hostages, where are they?
Next, we have SiteGround, and SiteGround is a company that I have recommended over the years. They are a reliable company. Now, there is an elephant in the room, and I will address that really quickly. But first, let's talk about their specs. So they had an average load time of 2.24 seconds, which is very similar to A2 Hosting, and they had around 11 minutes of downtime, which really is not that bad at all. Let's go ahead and take a look at their 90-day mark. So we have the 90 days. I think they had an hour or 30 minutes of downtime over 3 months. That's really not that bad, to be honest. So this company recently raised their prices, and I'm very aware of that, and people were saying they're going to leave SiteGround because of that, but their prices are still cheap when you compare them to other companies. So SiteGround is still cheaper than A2 Hosting. So if you want a year of hosting on the Grow Big account, you'll pay around $150 for the entire year. A2 Hosting charges around $180 for that. Now, I will say though, their renewal fees are higher than A2 Hosting. So A2 Hosting's renewal fees are $20 a month, and SiteGround's are $25 a month. So that's something that you might want to consider. But what you're really paying for with SiteGround is you're paying for the support, guys. So everyone that uses this company, they always say the same thing. Their support is just #1. It's just unbeatable. If there's a problem with your website, these guys will usually fix it within the hour. So they are really fast with the support, because I've used other companies, and you know how it goes. You submit a ticket, and then 7 hours later, did you clear your cache? It's like, oh my gosh. So SiteGround is definitely a website that is that's worth checking out. I personally use SiteGround on my website, and I do recommend them in my videos. The renewal fees can be a little expensive, so that's just something to consider. So SiteGround, I definitely recommend them. Next, we have WP Engine. WP Engine performed one of the fastest on this whole list, but again, they are the most expensive company on this list. So SiteGround performed on average of a load time of 642 ms with only 6 minutes of downtime. That is extremely impressive. Now, the plans with the WP Engine are very expensive, so they are pretty much neck and neck with Kinsta. So for $100 a month, you get around 100,000 visits, which is 200 gigs of bandwidth. And it's funny, on their website they listed it twice, so 200 gigs of bandwidth and then 100,000 visits. Okay, we get that. 20 gigs of storage, which is really not that much, to be honest. Now, I do have an exclusive discount for WP Engine. So normally if you go to their website, you'll pay $115 a month, but through my link, you will pay only $95 a month. So if you want to check out WP Engine, go ahead and check them out. They had just amazing, oh no, wrong one. They had just amazing speeds, and they're definitely worth it. They are a little expensive, just keep that in mind, but for performance, it definitely makes up for it. Next, we have KnownHost. This company just kind of came out of the blue. So someone in my Facebook group said we should test out KnownHost, and I said, guys, this site looks old. And it is old. It's very old. The site looks really bad, and I'm not a fan of their design. But I said, you know what? I don't care. We have to test everybody. We have to give everyone a fair chance. And KnownHost surprised me. So they had an average load time of 1.13 seconds with no downtime over the last 30 days. Very impressive. Now, this company, I'll be very honest, I'm not trying to attack them in any way, but their support was really not that good. I had a problem setting up my hosting account, and it took around a few days. I almost gave up on them, but I went a step further, and I said, no, we're going to test you out. We're going to test it out. So the package that I chose for my specific test was the standard shared hosting. So I have an exclusive discount for the shared hosting. So if you go to any of the shared hosting and use the code Daryl10, you will save 10% off the entire purchase, no matter how much time or whatever you spend. So I'll just do Daryl10 and redeem, and the price drops by $35. That also works for dedicated servers. Whew, that is a big discount, guys. So these guys gave me 10% off their dedicated servers. Companies do not usually give me that, and this company did. Also, we have 10% off their reseller hosting. So the code Daryl10 works for all of the reseller hosting. The code Daryl60 works for their WordPress hosting. So you will get 60% off their WordPress. So let's go to order now for their WordPress hosting, and I will use the coupon code Daryl60 and redeem, and you will save 60% off their hosting. Did that work? 60% off? There it goes. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. A lot cheaper, right? So you do get 60% off the hosting. Also, the code Daryl4030 provides 40% off the initial purchase or 30% discount for life for the managed VPS and the cloud. So I will put all of those in the description below. They were nice enough to give me those discounts. Their performance was amazing. Their site, I mean, I'll be honest, their backend is a little old school. So when you buy hosting through them and you go to the backend, it is a little old school. You can definitely tell this is a mom and pop shop hosting company, but their speeds are incredible. So definitely check out KnownHost. They are one website to consider. Next is Liquid Web. Now, I guess they call it Nexus or Liquid Web. It's I don't know what to call it now. So it's Nexus or Liquid Web. Now, I do have an exclusive discount for them as well. If you guys use the code Daryl35, you do get 35% off their plans. Now, to be honest, I think this is the best managed hosting on this entire list, and I'll explain why. So their performance was around 963 ms, which is under 1 second. Now, I know there's WP Engine perform faster, but guys, you're not going to ever see 200 ms with the human eye. It's like, are you gonna see a website load and say, oh, that was 250 ms, oh, that was 400 ms? Like, you're never gonna see the difference. So at this point, you kind of want to see what's the best value for money and also what you're getting with your money. So they had an average downtime of 1 minute over the last 90 days. Wow, impressive. Now, the reason why this company blows the other ones out of the water is because you get a lot more with, I guess you want to say Nexus/Liquid Web than other managed hosting companies. So let's take a look at their designer package, which is their newest package they created today as I'm making this video. So for $100 a month, you get 60 gigs of storage. Let's compare that to WP Engine. So for $100 a month, you only get 20 gigs of storage. So you get 3 times more storage with this company than you do with WP Engine, paying the same price. Now this is where Nexus and Liquid Web just win everything. 4 terabytes of bandwidth. That is a lot. So that is pretty much 2.5 million monthly visits every single month. But with these guys, you only get around 200 gigabytes. So 1,000 gigabytes, guys, is 1 terabyte. So do the math there. You get what, five times. You get 20 times more bandwidth with Liquid Web, paying the same price. So I just can't really argue that that you're not getting your money's worth. So if you are looking for managed WordPress hosting and you have a lot of traffic and you need a lot of space, this company is definitely, I think, the #1 company to go with. You also do get a 14-day free trial. So that link in the description below will give you a free trial and a discount off your first 3 months of hosting. So yeah, go with them. Guys, they are amazing. Number 2, we have NameHero. Now NameHero is the most cost-effective company on this entire list. So if you're looking for fast web hosting that's cheap, NameHero is probably one of your best bets. Now, their average load time was 1.98 seconds, and they only had 14 minutes of downtime over the last 3 months, which is pretty good. Now, NameHero worked out an exclusive discount for me, so you will get 70% off any of their packages. Now, you will not find this discount anywhere else on the internet. You will not find it on any other YouTube channel. This is the only place where you will find the largest discount for NameHero. So let's just take a look at their plan. Let's just do their Turbo Cloud. Now, one thing I do recommend is if you are going to sign up for NameHero, try to sign up for a long period, because there is a renewal fee. But if you lock in like their 3-year deal at $5.99, that works out for the 3 years. So there is a renewal fee, but that renewal fee will not apply until after your 3 years is over. So you want to try to go as long as possible. So let's just sign up for 3 years at $5.99. I will type in a gibberish domain, continue, and continue. And we'll do IAD protection. I always recommend that in all my videos. So for 3 years of hosting with NameHero, you're only going to pay around $218, which is, again, the most cost-effective on this entire list. And their performance is amazing. So if you do want to try, NameHero, definitely check them out. They use Lightspeed servers. They are known for having just good uptime, very fast, and this discount is exclusive to my channel. So there are a lot of copycats out there, guys, who say, oh, I have the best discount. No, you can contact NameHero and ask them who has the best discount. It will say my channel. So NameHero, definitely, they are worth checking out. And coming in at #1 is Hostinger. Now, Hostinger performed one of the best. Now, they also offer a lot more than typical web hosting companies. So their load time on average was 1.15 seconds, and they had only about 1 minute of downtime. Now, I'm gonna explain why I rank Hostinger #1 compared to other web hosting companies. So I use their WordPress hosting plan. So if you go to hosting and you go to WordPress hosting, this is the plan that I use for this specific test. You get 100 gigs of disk space, which is pretty much, that's more than pretty much every other company on this entire list. And you also do get unlimited bandwidth. Now, I contacted them about this because a lot of companies say that, and they say that for the typical website that they will give you unlimited bandwidth. And if you get like millions and millions and millions of visits, they might have to throttle your website. But for something around like 500,000 visitors, this plan is suitable. So that is very cost effective. It's also a Lightspeed server. So Lightspeed servers are known to be the fastest, and you can tell just by looking at the statistics. Now, I do have an exclusive discount for Hostinger for all of their plans in the description below. This discount is bigger than any other discount you will find on the internet as well. I'm very lucky to have such massive discounts. So I've seen other channels where they say they have better discounts, and that's not true. So if you guys use the code Daryl over here, you guys will save 10% off. So the price goes from $155 to $139, and this works for pretty much any plan. So if you want to do it for 24 months, you can do that. If you want to do it for 48 months, the plan works, or the discount works for all of their plans. So Hostinger is just, their plans are amazing. What they give to their customers is very good. They speak like 40 languages, and if you're looking for cheap hosting, I mean, $139 for a year of WordPress hosting for these results, I would have to say, is the best value for your money. So again, I rank Hostinger #1 this year. I think that their performance is great. I think that their uptime was amazing, and their prices are super cheap. So let's go take a look at their other plans really quick. So if you want to go ahead and go to their cloud for even faster hosting, that coupon code again works for their cloud hosting. So let's go to their most popular Cloud Professional, and if we use the code again, we will still save 10% off. So let's take a look at their 12 months. And for those of you who want to upgrade to their cloud, you want just even faster web hosting, that coupon code Daryl will work for all of their plans. So you will save 10% off anything off their website. So to Hostinger, thanks for giving me that discount. And if you guys are looking for just very fast hosting, I definitely recommend Hostinger. They are my #1 recommendation this year. So party people, I hope this test helped you out. I spent thousands of dollars and a lot of time, months making this test, so I hope it helped you out. And I do try to contact these companies to get you guys discounts, because I know it can be a little expensive when you're shopping for web hosting. So make sure to like this video. Now, on a more personal note, these tests are the most accurate way to measure a web hosting performance. So if you do come across blogs or other channels where they say that these tests are not true, that is simply not true, and they're just trying to sell you. Now, also for these discounts, these are exclusive discounts only for me and my channel. So the discount for Hostinger and Name Hero, you will not find a bigger discount anywhere else. So I just want to make that very clear for my audience. So if you do see people out there saying that they have a 10% discount, I actually have the 10% discount, and it is the largest discount available for Hostinger. And also the 70% discount for Name Hero is exclusive to me and my channel. So what are you still doing here? Go get web hosting. I'll see you later. Bye.